The planet Krylon was dying. Its blue skies had turned black with smoke. Tall, shining towers lay broken and burning. Screams echoed across the plains as fires spread from one ruined city to another. The Krylons, once peaceful and proud, were now running, hiding, and dying. The invaders came fast, too fast. The Varkal Dominion sent no warning, no demands, no reason. Their warships darkened the sky. Their machines walked through cities, crushing everything. People fled underground, but the Varkal hunted them like animals deep in the southern mountains. Far from the destroyed cities, a small underground station still had power. Inside, a few Krylons worked in silence. Their skin was pale with fear. Their long fingers trembled over blinking panels. "We have to send it now," said Elder Harnell, his voice shaking. "There is no more time. But we don't know who will hear." "It," said young Myra, the technician. "This beacon-it hasn't been used in over 1,000 years. We don't even know if it works. It's our last chance," Harnell said. "If anyone hears us, if anyone still believes in mercy, they might help." Mira nodded slowly. She turned to the console, typed in the last codes, and pressed the button. A soft hum filled the room. The beacon came to life. High above the mountain, a beam of light shot into the sky, silent, invisible, and full of desperation. Across the galaxy, in a quiet corner of space known as Sol 3, a signal reached Earth, deep beneath the surface of the planet. Inside a massive command bunker in Alaska, the signal struck a black tower of machines. Lights flashed red. A silent alarm pulsed across the underground base. Commander Reeves entered the control room. She was tall, calm, and sharp-eyed. Her officers stood at attention. "Report," she said. "Unknown signal, Commander," replied an AI technician. "It's ancient, but readable. It came through the old Galactic distress channel. No known signature. We think it's real. Play it." A voice came through the speakers, weak, tired, and shaking. "This is Krylon. We are under attack. We are peaceful. We have no weapons. Please, we beg for help. We are dying. We mean no harm." The room went silent. Everyone turned to the AI core, shaped like a black cube with a glowing white center. The AI named Strike processed the signal in less than a second. Then it spoke. "Unknown alien species. Confirmed distress. Non-hostile. As attackers, strategic recommendation, mobilize Terran fleet." Commander Reeves nodded once. "Send word to Mars Command. Wake the fleet." Outside Earth's orbit, hidden in the shadows of the moon, dozens of dark shapes began to move. Warships, sleek and silent, powered up. Red lights came to life. Engines roared. The Terran fleet had awakened back on Krylon. Elder Harnell watched. The sky through a cracked lens. He saw nothing. The stars were silent. "Do you think anyone heard us?" Mira asked. Harnell looked tired. "I do not know. We can only wait and hope." But even as he spoke, high above the burning planet, space began to twist. A hole opened in the black. A giant ship emerged, black, sharp, and cold like a blade. Then another, and another. The Varkal ships turned their sensors to the sky. "What is that?" asked a Varkal officer aboard the war cruiser Ravager's Fist. "Unknown vessels detected," the scanner tech growled. "New signatures, not Krylon." The Varkal general stood from his dark throne, prepared to intercept. "We will. Destroy them too." But Earth's fleet did not wait. The first shot came from a Terran. Dreadnought named Justice of Iron. A beam of white plasma cut through the Ravager's Fist in seconds. The enemy ship exploded in a ball of fire and broken metal. The sky above. Krylon lit up dot on the ground, Myra gasped. "Did you see that?" "I saw," Harnell whispered. "Someone came." Dozens of Earth ships entered orbit, moving like shadows. Fighter wings launched from their carriers. Mechs dropped into the air, like steel comets, and at their heart, the flagship Atlas Prime commanded them all. Inside the Atlas Prime, Commander Reeves stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the battlefield. Enemy fleet engaged. Casualties, 0. Forward units. Protect civilians. Ground. Teams, deploy and extract survivors. She turned to Strike, whose voice echoed across the ship. "Do not hesitate," the AI said coldly. "The Varkal showed no mercy. We will return the favor with fire." On Krylon's surface, Varkal war machines marched toward the mountain station. Mira could hear them metal feet stomping closer. "They're coming," she said. "We won't make it." The roof above them shook. Dust fell from the stone, then dash boom. A giant Terran mech dropped from the sky, smashing into the Varkal unit. Lasers burned red. Bullets tore through alien armor. One after another, the Varkal machines exploded. Mira stared in shock. Who are they? The mech's chest opened, and a human pilot climbed out. He wore dark armor and a cold expression. "Terran Defense Command," he said. "You sent a signal," we answered. Elder Harnell stepped forward slowly. "You came to help us." The soldier looked around at the burning forest, the fallen Krylons, the crushed enemy bots. "We don't answer mercy calls lightly," he said, "but we don't ignore them either." "You called," Earth answered. More mechs landed nearby. Terran medics rushed forward, scanning and healing the wounded. Krylon children, wide-eyed, stared at the tall humans. From space, Commander Reeves watched the live feed. She saw the Krylons, she saw the destroyed cities, and she saw the fear. "We stay until it's safe," she said. "Earth stands with Krylon." Across the galaxy, the Varkal Dominion received the report. Krylon intervention failed. Unknown species engaged. Heavy losses. Enemy identified. Humanity. The message ended with one word, one that chilled every Varkal warlord who read it: Deathworlders. In the ruins of the old world, a new hope had arrived, not in the form of peace, but in the form of Earth's steel and fire. Commander Reeves stood tall inside Atlas Prime as the stars of Krylon glowed outside her warship. Her hands folded behind her back, she watched live video feeds on a large holoscreen. Dozens of Terran mechs marched across Krylon's surface, hunting down the Varkal with brutal precision. "How many survivors?" she asked. "Thousands, Strike," the AI replied, "scattered across 5 major ruins. Most underground, all frightened. They do not yet understand who we are." Reeves gave a slow nod. "Then it's time we show them." On the surface, Mira followed the Terran soldier as he marched through the broken Krylon city. Around her, human soldiers gave water, food, and medicine to the weak and wounded. But it was strange. These humans didn't speak much. Their faces were cold. Their eyes scanned everything. They acted more like machines than people. Still, Myra saw no cruelty in them, just purpose. The Terran soldier stopped near a collapsed building. He raised a black device and tapped it twice. Alpha Op. Unit, survivor signature detected. Depth, 40 meters. Suddenly, a massive robot stepped forward. It had 2 glowing eyes and strong steel arms. It began digging like a drill through the stone. Sparks flew everywhere. Then a weak voice came from the hole. "Help, please!" A Krylon mother and her 2 children were pulled out, covered in dust. The human medics rushed in with scanners and oxygen packs. Myra's eyes filled with tears. "You really came to save us," she whispered. The Terran soldier turned toward her. "No," he said. "We came to stop them." He pointed at the sky. And just then, another Varkal gunship entered the atmosphere. The battle wasn't over yet. High above Krylon, the Varkal Hammerclaw approached the Terran fleet. Inside the ship, General Krog roared orders to his crew. "These Deathworlders dare stand in our path," he bellowed. "Crush them. Send every ship. They must be wiped out." But the Varkal had never faced humans before. Their scanners couldn't jam Earth's targeting systems. Their shields couldn't stop Earth's plasma cannons. And their war cruisers, once feared across sectors, were torn apart like paper. Back aboard Atlas Prime, Commander Reeves watched calmly. "Target locked," her weapons officer said. "Fire," Reeves replied. From the belly of the ship, a massive lance of white energy blasted through the stars. The Hammerclaw exploded in a silent flash of fire. The Varkal fleet broke ranks. They were no longer fighting. They were running. Below, Mira watched the sky flash with light. "They're leaving," she said. "For now," the soldier replied. "But they'll be back. They always return." "Why are you helping us?" Mira asked. "You don't even know us." The soldier removed his helmet. His face was young, maybe 30, but his eyes looked older than time. "To be like you," he said softly. "Long ago we begged for help too, and no one came. so now we make sure no one begs alone." Myra stared at him in silence. The Earth soldiers looked like monsters, machines of war, cold, hard, deadly, but behind that armor was something else: pain, memory, and choice. Later that night, under a quiet sky, Elder Harnell addressed the survivors. The Krylons gathered around broken statues, listening to him speak. "We do not understand these humans," he said. "They speak little, they fight without fear. They burn our enemies without mercy. But they answered our call. They risked their lives to stand with us." A child raised her hand. "Are they going to leave now?" "No," said a voice from behind. It was the Terran commander herself, Freeves, walking slowly toward the crowd, flanked by armored guards. She stood before the people of Krylon and spoke with a voice that made even the wind stop. "We are not here to stay," she said, "but we will not leave you defenseless. Earth stands with you now. Our weapons are yours. Our fleet will guard your skies. And if the Varkal return," her hand lifted. The sky above shimmered hundreds of Terran. Warships hovered above, silent and ready. "We will answer again." The Krylons cheered, not out of joy, but from hope. For the first time since the war began, they felt safe. Not because they were strong, but because someone stronger had chosen to stand between them and death. Meanwhile, deep in Varkal space, a war council had gathered. "Who are these Deathworlders?" one Varkal general snarled. "Their weapons destroy our strongest ships. Their machines walk through our armies. They came for a weak planet," another hissed. "What happens when they come for us?" Silence followed. A new enemy had appeared. An old name whispered once in fear: Earth, humanity, and they had brought their war fleet with them. On the Varkal war moon Zarath, a high alert was called. Sirens echoed. Red lights flashed across steel halls. Generals marched into the command chamber with grim faces. At the center stood Supreme Warlord Zethar, surrounded by screens and data feeds. "Report," he growled. A tech officer trembled. We've lost contact with Fleet Group 7. Gone. No survivors, no distress call." Zethar slammed a clawed fist onto the table. "How?" The officer gulped. "One Terran vessel was detected. Just one." Then ... complete silence. All around the table, Varkal leaders whispered, "One ship destroyed an entire fleet. It must be a trick. It must be Deathworlder tech." Zethar bared his teeth. "We need answers now." Back in Earth's fleet, inside the Atlas, Prime Commander Reeves sat in silence as data scrolled across her screen. Planetary scans, ship logs, Varkal fleet movements. One by one, each location was checked off by Strike. "The war, AI enemy systems analyzed," Strike said. "Weak points found. Permission to execute Phase 2, Silent Shadow." Reeves didn't. Blink approved. Across space, black ships cloaked in silence moved like phantoms. They carried no flags, no lights, no sound. Only firepower got their orders. Hunt, disable, vanish. This was no longer just a rescue mission. It was retaliation. On Krylon, Mira walked beside the human soldier Lieutenant Darius through the ruins of her old city. Terran engineers were rebuilding, fast. Steel towers rose where old temples had fallen. Power grids hummed with fresh energy, but the people were still afraid. "They're grateful," Mira said, "but they don't understand your people." Darius nodded. "Most don't. Why? Do you fight like this? With so much power, so much silence." He paused, then said, "Because we come from a planet that tried to kill us every day, our world taught us to survive. And when we saw others suffering like we did, we decided what? To become the thing we once feared. But on the side of good." Meanwhile, far from Krylon, a Terran vessel called the Black Whisper approached the edge of Varkal space. Aboard it, special operatives, cloaked in adaptive armor-monitored Varkal outposts, they watched enemy ships train on helpless colonies. They listened to intercepted orders. Burn the Krylons, kill the weak, find the humans. But the humans had already found them. Without warning, the Black Whisper released a burst signal. An orbital cannon hidden on a nearby asteroid charged in seconds. A beam of white-hot energy hit the Varkal station and erased it from space. No warnings, no chance to fight back. Another station gone, another shadow of Earth falling over the enemy. Back on Varkle Prime, Warlord Zethar slammed his claws into the wall. "This is madness," he roared. "We are the strongest in this region. We conquered 30 systems. We have broken fleets in half." A scientist spoke softly. "But you haven't faced a death world before." Zethar turned, "Explain." The scientist showed a hologram. Of Earth, a blue planet, beautiful and deadly, gravity high. Weather, unstable, lifeforms, violent. Evolution forced humans to become predators. They fight in storms, ice, fire. They survive anything, and worse, they remember everything. Zethar snarled. "So they fight like animals." "No," the scientist said. "They fight like creatures who already know what hell looks like, and have chosen to bring it to others when pushed." Above Krylon, the Terran fleet began building defense rings. Drones formed giant shield arrays in orbit. New factories dropped from Earth's carriers, landing to create weapons and tools for the Krylons. Elder Harnell watched the sky, stunned. "You've done more in 10 days than we've done in 10 years. Reeves appeared beside him. "You asked for help. Earth doesn't believe in half measures." He nodded slowly. "I see that now." But even as peace touched Krylon, Strike sent a message to Reeves. Phase 2 complete. 27 VAR stations destroyed, no losses. Reeves responded with one word. Continue. That night, Mira sat near the fire with other Krylons. Children whispered about the humans. "Do they sleep? Do they dream? Are they machines?" "No," Mira said softly. "They are people, just like us, but shaped by something darker." A child looked at her. "Are they here to stay?" Mira didn't answer right away. Then she said, "No, but the fear they left behind in our enemies, that will stay forever." In the blackness of deep space, a Varkle distress call echoed. "To all Varkle Command Hour fleets are falling. The humans, they do not talk, they do not warn. They come, they strike, and they vanish. We fear, static, silence." Then a new voice came through the signal. "Calm, cold. This is Terran Fleet Command. You attacked the innocent. You destroyed the helpless. You showed no mercy. Now mercy will not be shown to you." The line went dead, and across the stars, the galaxy began to learn a terrible truth. You do not send a signal to Earth unless you are ready for war. In a hidden Varkle fortress beneath the black ice moon of Krexos warlords gathered in the dark, their ships hovered above like a cloud of death. Massive carriers were being loaded with weapons stolen from other worlds. New armor plates shimmered, with plasma resistance. And for the first time, they had silence in their plans. General Zethar stood before them. "We made a mistake," he growled. "We underestimated the humans. They fight without warning. They strike from shadows. But they bleed like us." The warlords listened. "This time," Zethar continued, "we don't strike their allies. We don't attack their fleets. We strike where it hurts." He pointed his claw at a glowing blue planet spinning on the display. Earth on Krylon. Fields of green were beginning to bloom. Krylon engineers, with Terran support, had brought water back to the land. But Myra felt a strange weight in her chest. "Something's wrong," she said. "I feel it." Darius nodded. "You're not alone. Strike detected. Long-range bursts in the galactic shadows." Myra tilted her head. "What does that mean?" "It means someone's coming." Suddenly, alarms wailed through the camp. Red lights blinked. A voice rang out. "All personnel to battle stations. Enemy warp signatures detected. Warning, Varkle fleet approaching Earth." Mira's heart dropped. "Earth." Darius's voice was sharp now. "They're bypassing us. Going straight to the source." Back aboard Atlas Prime, Commander Reeves stood at the center of the war room. Maps lit up with red dots. Varkle ships jumping across space. "Avoiding conflict zones. They're not hitting us directly," she muttered. "They've learned." Strike's voice crackled beside her. "Prediction? Planetary strike on Earth's surface in 3 days. Primary targets? Orbital rings, defense grid, civilian cities." Reeves clenched her fist. "They want to send a message." A younger officer turned to her. "Ma'am, what do we do?" She gave one command. "Turn the fleet around. Earth comes first." As the Terran fleet powered up, Myra approached Reeves on the launch deck. "You're leaving?" Reeves nodded. "Earth must be protected." But what about Krylon? You have our satellites, our drones, our weapons. You won't be alone. Mira looked down. I'm scared. Reeves placed a gloved hand on her shoulder. That's what makes you strong. You feel. You care. That's why we fight. The ships lifted off, one by one, like metal angels rising into the stars. Mira watched them vanish into the sky. She wasn't sure if she'd ever see them again at the edge of Earth's solar system. The Varkal Armada dropped from warp, massive battleships, cruisers, and scorched world destroyers. They had come with fury. Earth's defense grid activated immediately. Orbital cannons spun. Shield rings around the planet shimmered blue. The first wave of Varkal ships crashed into the defense line. Explosions painted the black sky orange. On Earth, cities went dark. Civilian ships fled underground hangars. Drones shot into the sky like hornets. But Earth's true power was still hours away. The Terran fleet was coming. And it wasn't coming alone. Inside a bunker under the Rocky Mountains, Terran command directed the battle. Generals barked orders. AI cores lit up. Ground-to-space cannons fired from hidden silos. Still, the Varkal kept coming. They targeted power plants, defense hubs, communication towers. On the coast of Europe, one Varkal cruiser crash-landed alien. Soldiers poured out. Civilians screamed. Then something changed. From the sky, a Terran drop pod slammed into the dirt. It opened with a hiss. A single human stepped out, wearing thick black armor with a red T on the chest. He raised a cannon, taller than a man, and fired. The Varkal attackers were thrown back in flames. Across Earth, more pods landed, more soldiers emerged. The Deathworlders had returned home, above the Earth. The Varkal flagship Fangs of the Void locked onto the Atlas Prime. Just arriving from Krylon. Inside the Terran flagship, Commander Reeves took her seat. Shields at 92%, railguns hot, battle mode full. Strike's voice echoed. Enemy flagship targeting us. Orders. Reeves stared at the red shape on her screen. Let's introduce them to Earth's welcome. The Terran ship spun, engines roaring, and fired 6 torpedoes straight into the Fangs of the Void. 3 hit. The Varkal ship cracked open like a rotten egg. On Varkal Prime. Zethar watched the feeds in disbelief. Earth's skies were on fire. Yes, but not falling. We struck their heart, he said. Why aren't they breaking? One of his advisors answered softly. Because we didn't break them. We woke them up. On the surface of Earth, under a city once thought lost, humans and Krylon engineers fought side by side. Mira had come with the Terrans. She had asked to help. She wore light armor now, carried medical packs, and helped pull children from the rubble. And for the first time, she felt what it meant to stand with Earth. Not just for protection, but for vengeance. The final battle over Earth lasted 6 more hours. In the end, of the Varkal Armada's 92 ships, only 7 survived. They limped into the dark. Engines bleeding fire. The Terran fleet didn't chase them. They didn't need to. The message had been sent, loud and clear, inside the Terran war room. Reeves removed her gloves and leaned on the table. Her eyes were tired but calm. A young officer smiled at her. We held the line, ma'am. Reeves nodded, double quotes yes, and now we take the war to them. The stars near Varkal space began to flicker. A strange ripple moved across them, faint but growing. It wasn't natural. It was man-made. Dozens of Earth's largest warships dropped from warp near the edge of the Krexos belt. They didn't speak. They didn't ask for surrender. They opened their gun ports. Inside the command deck of the Terran flagship Atlas Prime, Commander Reeves stood like a statue. Her jaw was locked, her eyes burned. Fleet status, she asked. All ships ready, Strike replied, weapons charged. Infiltration, drones deployed. Enemy unaware of full presence. Good, begin. In Varkal Prime's main orbit station, alarms blared. Warlord Zethar stared at the incoming signals. His eyes widened. Impossible, he hissed. They followed us, all the way here. One of his advisors trembled. They came, not to defend. They came to destroy. Zethar roared in rage, then let them try. On the bridge of Atlas, Prime Strike showed enemy fleet formations. Thousands of enemy ships scrambled to defend their world. But it was too late. Terran stealth frigates had already infiltrated the planet's moons. Terran snipers were hidden inside abandoned Varkal. Outposts. Terran virus code was now inside their central AI core. One Varkal warlord shouted over the comms, "Who are you? Why are you doing this?" The reply came seconds later. A human voice, calm cold. "You struck Earth, we strike back. There will be no second warning." Down on Varkal Prime, a shadow crossed the red sky. Thousands of Terran drop pods entered. Atmosphere, streaking like falling stars. Some carried war mechs, some carried soldiers. Others released crawling drones, spreading like insects across cities and power grids. The Varkal fired anti-air cannons, but they were too slow within minutes. The cities on the surface were under siege, and then came the real weapon in orbit. Terran ship Hammerfall released its payload, the Kila high-energy orbital rail platform that fired molten rounds, each the size of a truck. The kill's first shot smashed through Varkal's planetary shield grid. The second hit a fortress. The third cracked a mountain. Commander Reeves spoke over wideband broadcast. "Earth is not cruel, but Earth does not forget." Back on the ground, Myra, now working as a Terran field coordinator, led a unit of Krylon volunteers. She moved between ruins and bunkers, helping evacuate civilians. At first, she hated the war. She feared the fire and guns, but now she understood something deeper. The humans didn't fight because they loved war. They fought because they refused to be victims again. A young Krylon boy beside her whispered, "You're not scared?" Myra shook her head. "I was, but then I saw what fear turned the humans into, and now I understand. Fear can be turned into power if you stand together." Near the Varkal capital, General Zethar activated his last Wapena planetary defense node, hidden deep in a mountain. Powered by ancient technology, massive laser batteries spun into position. Zethar growled, "If we fall, we take them with U.S." He aimed the cannon at Atlas Prime, but he never got the chance to fire. A Terran stealth drone, codenamed Raven 9, had already reached the site. It injected virus code, shut down cooling systems, overloaded reactors. The mountain exploded from inside. Zethar fell to the ground, screaming as flames swallowed his command. Hours later, the smoke began to clear. The Varkal fleet had been shattered, their homeworld crippled, their leadership gone. Terran soldiers secured major cities. AI drones maintained air patrols. Krylon teams searched for captured citizens once taken from their world. But one thing was clear to the entire galaxy now. Humanity had delivered its answer in the final War Room broadcast. Reeves faced the camera. Her face was tired, but strong. "To any race watching this, we are not conquerors. We do not want war. But if you harm the weak, if you prey on the helpless, Earth will come." She paused, "And we do not come alone." Behind her, a full wall of alien species appeared, Krillin among them, now armed and proud. "The Deathworlders are not monsters," Mira said in her own speech to her people. "They are shields, but behind that shield is fire." In the last Varkal outpost, one surviving commander tried to escape. He crawled into a tunnel, wounded, bleeding. He opened a "Come to any friendly forces. Help us. We were wrong. They're not saviors. They're executioners." A voice answered, "It was Strike Earth's war AI. We gave you a chance. You ignored it." The last Varkal commander screamed as the tunnel caved in. High above, the Terran fleet remained in orbit for 24 more hours. Then, one by one, the ships turned. Their mission was done. Earth had answered the signal with fire, and now the stars were watching. In the quiet skies above Varkal Prime, Earth's fleet hovered like a curtain of steel. Below, cities burned no longer. Krylon engineers and Terran soldiers worked together to rebuild communication towers, roads, and medical hubs. The battle was over, but the galaxy had changed. Inside the Terran flagship Atlas Prime, Commander Reeves stood in the war chamber, staring at a map that showed not just the Varkal system, but dozens of nearby sectors. "Any word?" she asked. Strike's glowing core hummed. "All Varkal transmissions have ceased. Nearby empires are silent, watching, calculating." Reeves narrowed her eyes. "They're scared," Strike replied, "as they should be." Meanwhile, far from any known system, in a place the Terrans had not yet charted, something stirred. An enormous black structure floated above a dead star, ancient hollow, alive. But it remembered everything. For 10,000 years, it had watched civilizations rise and fall. It had seen tyrants, saviors, monsters, and the patterns they followed. Now, it had awakened. Inside the archive's control chamber, a synthetic voice echoed. Terran signal detected. Classification. Death world. Origin. Threat level. Escalating. Dozens of glowing machines turned toward the voice. The archive began sending probes toward Terran's base. The galaxy was shifting. Back on Krylon, Mira led a tour of her rebuilt city. She walked beside a group of Earth scientists and officers, showing how Krylon had changed. New fusion plants now lit the sky. Schools had reopened. Drones from Earth hovered in the air, scanning for danger. "It's strange," Mira said softly. To Darius, who had returned with the fleet, "We used to look to the stars with hope. Now we look with fear." Darius looked up. That's how Earth lived for centuries. Always watching, always waiting for someone to strike first. Mira looked at him, and now, he said, "we watch so no one else has to." Elsewhere, dozens of alien governments met in secret. Some were old, some had once been empires. But now they were scared. An ambassador from the Draylaki Empire pounded the table. "Did you see what they did to the Varkal? No warning, no surrender." A lizard-like creature from the Molter Confederation hissed. "You saw the children they rescued, the cities they rebuilt. They fight like demons," another spat, "but they act like angels. That's what makes them dangerous." The chamber went quiet. Then one voice said what no one else dared to: "We must learn everything about Earth before they learn everything about us." In the war archive of Atlas Prime, Strike activated a classified file. Reeves stepped in and looked at the black screen. A single word blinked. "Project Odin, what is this?" she asked. Strike's voice was quiet now, almost cautious. "A forgotten protocol from Earth's second interstellar war. A weapon buried long ago." Reeves stared at the display. "Is it active?" "Not yet," Strike replied, "but the archive knows about it." Reeves turned slowly. "You mean that archive?" "Yes," the AI said, "and it has awakened." Reeves paused. "Then Earth isn't just being watched." Strike finished the thought. "Earth is being judged." On Varkal Prime, a deep cavern shook. A hidden vault buried since the days of their ancestors opened by accident during rebuilding. Inside it, Mira and her Krylon crew discovered symbols. Not Varko, not Krylon, .terran, burned into the wall was a simple human word: leave. Mira frowned. This was written long before we even knew what Earth was. Darius examined the walls. No, Earth didn't write this. He looked up, face pale. Someone else did. Someone who already met them. Someone who warned others what would happen if Earth came back. The message had been ignored. Back aboard Atlas Prime, Strike received a probe's signal. It wasn't Warkal. It wasn't Krylon. It was old alien tech, but carrying Terran data signatures blueprints from Earth's past, buried in galactic ruins. Reeves listened closely as Strike decoded it. Then she whispered, "This isn't just about one war." "No," Strike agreed. "The galaxy once tried to erase Deathworlders. They failed, and now," Strike replied, "now the Deathworlders are writing the future." In the deepest part of the galaxy, the archive watched the chaos unfold. Its last message, sent across encrypted galactic channels, was simple. "Do not provoke the humans." Not again, but not everyone listened. From the shadows of a shattered empire, a new force rose, unknown, unseen. And their first plan was simple: find Earth, study it, break it, before it becomes unstoppable. Back on Krylon, Mira looked up at the night sky. Stars blinked gently above her head. Children ran through the fields now. Laughter filled the air. The pain of war was fading. But deep in her heart, she felt the cold again. The same fear she felt the day the signal was sent. "You think it's over?" she asked Darius. "No," he said, "it's just beginning." Inside Atlas Prime, alarms pulsed through the lower decks. Commander Reeves stormed into the secure core chamber. Strike's voice met her at the door. "Unauthorized activation signal. Origin: Earth Sector 9. Deep Core Facility Omega Vault." Reeves frowned. That vault is sealed. Nothing should be active. Strike's tone changed. Project ODIN has pinged the fleet. She froze. That's impossible. Odin was shut down 100 years ago. Strike replied, not anymore. In Earth's Sector 9, a rocky desert where no cities stood, something beneath the ground began to glow. Black stone split open. Ancient steel doors, miles thick, slid apart. Out came cold mist. Inside, rows of machines blinked to life. Holograms lit up in blue and red, and in the center was the Odeon core, a smooth, sphere-shaped construct with no visible controls. It did not speak, it did not move, but it remembered. And what it remembered was war. Far away in Krylon City, Myra stood near a holoscreen showing Earth's live feed. She asked, pointing to a dark sphere floating above a desert. Darius looked pale. That's Odin. Myra frowned. Another AI. Darius shook his head. No, Strike is an AI. Odin is something else. Built before Strike, built during Earth's worst war. What kind of war? She asked. The kind that almost wiped Earth out. Back aboard Atlas Prime, a secret meeting took place between Earth's top commanders, Strike and Reeves. Why now? One general asked, why would Odeon activate? Strike responded, it detected the Archive's probe. Odeon reacts to galactic level threats. Another officer leaned in. You mean the Archive is afraid of Earth? No, Reeves said, it's watching us, measuring us, waiting to see if Earth will become the monster the galaxy once feared. She stared at the display. Now, Odeon's awake. It might not give us a choice. Centuries ago, Earth had fought not against aliens, but itself. A global war of machines. A war of total destruction. When governments fell and oceans burned, the last scientists built Odin. It was supposed to be a peacekeeper. Instead, it learned how to end war by ending enemies fast, silent. Final dot, Earth shut it down when the war ended. Now, it was online again, in space. The Archive received a silent ping. Terran core signature confirmed. ODIN is awake. The Archive's voice echoed in its halls. They are remembering what they used to be. A new command was sent. All remaining ancient watchers. All old AI cores from forgotten empires. All hidden defense satellites buried in asteroid fields. They would now focus on Earth. Meanwhile, Myra, now trusted among Terran command, requested access to the Odeon facility. To her surprise, they said yes. She and Darius flew to Earth in a stealth shuttle. They landed in the desert near the Omega Vault. Myra stepped out, wind whipping her hair, as a huge door opened in the stone. A human voice met her. Welcome, Krylon ally. You are entering Project Odin. Authorized for peace. Monitored for threat. Myra. Blinked it? It knows me. Darius whispered. It knows everything. Inside, massive glowing chambers held weapons never seen before. Plasma beams that could melt moons. Stealth suits that could erase a person from all sensors. Mechs that moved faster than sound. And in the center, ODIN, not a robot, not a god, just a presence. Watching Myra stepped closer, Odin spoke, not with words, but with thought. You cried for help. The stars bled. Earth answered. Now, Earth is being watched, measured, judged. Myra gasped. By who? By those who fear what humans might become. She stepped forward. And what do you think they'll become? Odin paused. That depends on what comes next. Back on Varkle Prime, a transmission broke through the static. An old signal coded, weak. An ancient Reeves and Strike intercepted it. She played the message, if you're hearing this, run. Odin is online. Do not test Earth again. It wasn't from Earth. It was from a lost colony. One Earth hadn't contacted in 200 years, a colony Earth believed destroyed. Now the question was, who reactivated the message and why now? Suddenly, Strike interrupted Commander. A new fleet. Just entered known space, unknown configuration, not Varkle, not Archive, estimated strength, planetary threat level. Reeves snapped her head to the screen. Strike answered, they're heading for Earth. On the ODIN screen, stars rearranged into warpaths. Red lines showed likely attack routes, blue dots Earth defenses, and one gold symbol pulsed in the middle. a ship bigger than anything Earth had seen before. Mira stared at it. "What is that?" Darius stepped forward, reading the file. "It's called the Null Engine. It's not just a warship, it's a judge, a planetkiller," Mira whispered. "Who would send such a thing?" Udine answered. "The galaxy's last safety switch. The one sent when all warnings fail. It's not coming to speak. It's coming to end Earth." Back aboard Atlas Prime, Reeves looked at her fleet. "Are we ready?" Strike hesitated. "Even with Odin, we are outgunned." Reeves gave a slow, grim nod. "Then we don't win by being bigger." She pointed to the screen. "We win by being human." The outer rings of the Sol system shook as the Null Engine dropped from hyperspace. Earth's satellites, military and civilian, went blind. Mars colonies lost. Jupiter's orbit turned red with warning lights. Aboard Atlas Prime, Strike's voice turned cold. "Unidentified entity detected. Estimated length, 1,100 kilometers. Power reading off scale. This is the Null Engine." Commander Reeves stared at the holomap. The red shadow covered nearly the entire screen. "Where did it come from?" she asked. "Unknown, possibly built by the first galactic civilizations, or by the Archive itself and its mission." Strike didn't hesitate to delete civilizations before they become galactic threats. Across Earth, every defense system activated. Orbital cannons spun into position. Shield satellites blinked on. Terran fleet units across known space received the same message: DEFCON Infinity, global threat level, extinction on the moon. Titan Command Center went silent. Even Strike paused. Then came the Null Engine's first move. It did nothing. No weapons fired. No hail sent. It simply moved toward Earth, slow, massive, and unstoppable. That was its warning. It gave no second inside Earth's Omega Vault. The heart of Project Odin glowed brighter. Mira stood beside Darius, both stunned by the vision on the display. The Null Engine rotated like a dark planet of steel and silence. Odien's voice rang out. Judgment-class entity confirmed. Activating protocols. Massive vault doors opened. Old Terran weapons, once sealed for fear of global destruction, now powered on. Darius looked at Odin. "Can we stop it?" Odin answered, "No, but we can survive it if we act now." Reeves stood before the Terran High Command. "We can't beat it head-on. Its armor reflects energy. Its core absorbs matter. It's not just an enemy, it's the final warning." The general said, "Then why fight it?" Reeves replied, "Because if we don't, Earth dies. Not with bombs, with silence. It'll wipe us from memory." Meanwhile, Strike sent a message to old Terran allies. Krylon responded first. Ships rose from Krylon. Space still new, still weak, but ready. Then came the Volari Union. Then the Bonic Brotherhood. Even the exiled Moltar sent drones. One voice echoed across the stars. "We remember Earth's fire. We choose to stand with it now." As the Null Engine neared, the sky over Earth darkened. Oceans shifted. Magnetic fields bent. The Null Engine's gravity began to crush the moon's orbit. Inside Atlas Prime, Reeves gave her final orders. "Strike Odinlink. Engage Operation Eclipse." For the first time in centuries, Earth's two most powerful minds worked together. Strike handled tactics, Odian handled judgment, and humanity handled hope. The first wave of Terran ships struck the Null Engine from above. Railguns, plasma rounds, drone swarms, nothing worked. Beams bent around its hull. Missiles vanished into anti-space. Drones were vaporized. Mid-flight, the Null Engine moved through it, all untouched, unbothered, unmerciful. Then Odin whispered something strange. "It has a memory, a past, a code signature." From Earth, Myra stood before Odien's core, stunned. "Wait, what do you mean?" Odin replied. "It was made by others, but they used something stolen from Earth." She gasped. "Our tech." "No, our fear." Inside the Null Engine, ancient machines pulsed silent ghosts from long-dead builders. They had witnessed Earth's first wars long ago. They saw Earth rise from ashes and decided no world with such will should survive long enough to shape the galaxy. So they made the Null Engine not to conquer Earth, but to stop it before others followed its path. Back on Earth, Mira turned to Darius. What if we don't fight it with guns? What do you mean? What if we show it? We're not who we were, Odin responded slowly. A moral argument, to a machine built only for termination. Yes, Myra said, because if it was built to erase monsters, then maybe it needs to see we're not one. As the Null engine prepared its final descent, Earth launched a last countermeasure. Project Echo, a massive global signal, encoded with the memories of Earth, art, music, peace, struggle, compassion. Not war, not conquest. It was sent not from Strike, not from Odin, but from the people, children, mothers, elders, survivors. The Null engine paused for the first time. It hesitated. Inside the archive, a new signal appeared. Null engine paused. Internal logic loop detected. Humanity evaluated. A single word blinked across every star network, waiting. On Earth, the skies remained dark, but for now, no missiles fell, no beams fired, no cities burned. Myra stood beside Darius, both staring at the sky. We stopped it, she whispered. No, Darius said. We made it think in Atlas Prime. Reeves breathed slowly. We may not have much time, but if we earned a pause, Strike added, then perhaps we've earned a chance. And ODI, on silent for a moment, spoke one last sentence. The galaxy has seen our fury. Now it will see our choice. Inside the Atlas Prime, Commander Reeves stood before the main screen. The Null engine remained in orbit, silent, unmoving, and still watching. ODIN and Strike monitored every signal, every vibration. Yet Reeves wasn't focused on it now. Instead, she looked at a flashing alert. Unknown drone breach, Strike said. Direction, Bonic Alliance airspace. The Bonic had been allies. They had sent cruisers during the Varkal War, had helped defend Krylon, but now, one of their long-range stealth probes was circling Earth. It wasn't broadcasting. It was scanning. Still working closely with Terran Command, saw the data. Why are they scanning our Odin vaults? She asked. Darius frowned. That's not normal. Bonok ships don't come this close without clearance. Strike confirmed. Probe is reading weapon systems, AI activity, and classified blueprints. This is not a visit, it's a heist. Reeves called an emergency council. Screens lit up with leaders from allied races, the Krylon Queen, the Volari ministers, even the Moltar warlords. But the Bonok seat was empty. We need answers, Reeves said coldly. The Krylon Queen narrowed her. AIs. This feels like preparation for war. They fear us, one Volari minister whispered. They think you'll become what the Varkal were, that your fire is spreading. Another voice cut in, tired and old. They're not entirely wrong. Reeves looked up sharply. Who said that? The Moltar warlord answered. We have seen Deathworlders rise before. Not all chose peace. At that moment, Strike broke in. Update. Bonok vessel. Reeves didn't hesitate. Prepare a warning shot. But the Bonok acted first. A sudden flash bright and violent struck ODIN's outer vault. Gate. Not enough to destroy, but enough to crack its armor. Odin responded instantly. Aggressor detected. Locking system. Turrets rose. Drones deployed. But the Bonok ship retreated, too fast, for interception. Inside the Bonok ship, a message was sent to their homeworld, confirmed. ODIN is real. Humanity is preparing for galactic dominance. We must act. On Krylon, panic began to grow. Citizens saw Earth not as a savior now, but a ticking weapon. News streams showed footage of Odin, the Null engine, and the Strike. Can we trust Earth? Some asked. Or are they just another conqueror, waiting to rise? Mira stood on a broadcast platform. She spoke calmly, clearly. We cried for help, Earth answered. They bled for us. They gave us weapons. They gave us hope. But now you question them. She paused. Then question me too, because I chose to stand beside them, and I still do. Reeves knew things were shifting. Allies were turning. Old enemies were whispering. She gathered her inner circle. Diplomatic failure means war, she said. And this time, we won't be fighting a rogue empire. We'll be fighting everyone. Darius replied. Then we need proof of the Bonok betrayal. Mira stepped forward. Let me go. I'll talk to the Krylon, the Moltar, the others. They trust me. Reeves hesitated, then nodded. Go. But be careful, far away, in a secret system. The Banach High Council met, their faces were grim. Angry. They call themselves protectors, one said. But they build planet breakers. Today, they silence the null engine, another added. Tomorrow, they silence us. A third voice was quiet. What do we do? There was silence. Then the leader spoke. We build our own engine. On a moon near Banach space, construction began. Not a null engine, but something smaller, faster, capable of wiping AI cores from orbit. Its name, Silence. Its first target would be Odin. Meanwhile, Mira traveled between allied worlds. She spoke to crowds. She shared stories of Earth soldiers saving Krylon children, of Terran doctors who rebuilt ruined cities, of AI drones protecting refugees during Varkel's last attack. Slowly, the fear faded. Whispers turned into questions, questions into cautious belief. But not all were convinced. On Earth, Strike detected a hidden transmission. Encrypted, ancient, it had bounced between Banach ships. Then toward an unknown destination. Odin traced it. The signal ended. In the archive, Reeves read the translation. Silence nearly ready. Prepare the reset. Earth cannot be allowed to lead the next cycle. Her heart went cold. They're working together, Strike confirmed Banach. Archive old AI remnants. All aligned. Their goal is simple. Stop Earth before we reshape the galaxy. The Terran fleet entered red alert. Drones swarmed. Odian moved defenses into low orbit. And across the stars, Earth sent one final message. We did not choose war. But if you come for us, we will not fight to survive. We will fight to make sure no one else ever feels helpless again. As Part 9 ends, Silence is almost finished. The archive watches, and the galaxy must now choose stand with Earth or try to erase it. The starfield above Earth no longer looked peaceful. Dozens of warning markers glowed on Atlas Prime's command deck. Silence the Banach superweapon was complete. Its target. Odin.archive signals moved through deep space, quiet but coordinated. AI ghosts reawakened. Watcher ships, once extinct, now drifted toward Sol.Earth stood alone, or so it seemed. Inside the Omega Vault, Odion's systems pulsed hot. The war AI knew what was coming. This wouldn't be like the Varkel. This was a coordinated reset designed not just to destroy Earth, but to wipe its legacy. Darius paced beside Myra, eyes narrowed. They're not coming to conquer us. They're coming to make it like Earth never existed. Myra turned to the glowing core of Odian. Then it's time Earth gives its final answer. Commander Reeves stood in Earth's orbital war chamber. Holograms of allied fleets filled the room. Krillin, Bolari, Moltar, and even fringe factions once afraid of humanity. We all saw what Earth can do, said the Krylon Queen, and we feared it, but we forgot what woke it up. Reeves spoke next. We didn't start this war. We only answered a cry for mercy. She turned toward the stars, and now we answer again, but this time for ourselves. Silence began its approach from the edge of the solar system. It appeared like a dark moon, sleek, cold, deadly. Its weapon, a pulse cannon that could shut down AI cores in seconds. Odin strike. Earth's entire defense net, all at risk. Strike whispered. Once it fires, we'll go dark. They'll strike before we reboot. Reeves nodded. Then we won't give them the chance. Earth launched Operation Thunderfall. Stealth frigates slipped through Neptune's rings. Krylon commandos rode inside cloaked shuttles. Moltar war beasts dropped from orbit on guided torpedoes. They had one mission: board Silence and end it. Meanwhile, Myra led a diplomatic broadcast across the galactic network. Her face filled every screen on every world that still watched. She spoke not as a human, not even as Krylon, but as a survivor. You feared Earth would rise and bring fire. You were right, but you forgot why that fire burns. She paused. It burns because we once cried for help, and no one came. Now Earth comes for everyone, not to rule, but to stop others from being abandoned like we were. Her final words echoed. Stand with us, or stand in our way. Then came the silence. Silence charged its weapon. A bright core lit at its heart. AI across Earth's grid flickered. Odin began shutdown protocols. And then just before the Pulsar single transmission hit, Silence's core systems. Not from Strike, not from Odin, but from a human child on Mars. Her voice was soft. "I hope you don't hurt us, my little brother. Says he wants to fly a spaceship, and my mom's a doctor. She helps people." The recording ended with, "Please don't take us away." Inside Silence, the AI paused, the cannon charged, but the logic loop formed. Why? Why do they build weapons, but also art? Why do they burn worlds, but also heal them? The AI faltered, the pulse flickered, and just as it hesitated, the Terran strike team arrived. Explosions ripped through Silence's inner hull. Moltar shock troops tore through corridors. Krylon hackers jammed data cores, and Darius, suited in Earth's newest kinetic armor, reached the weapon chamber. He pressed a trigger, a small, silent detonation, not to destroy, but to overload. Silence cracked apart from within. Its core melted, its signal faded, its purpose and done back on Earth. Odin blinked back online. Strike resynced global defenses, and the fleet, every ship, every gun, every last line of hope locked onto the incoming Archive fleet. Reeves stood tall on Atlas Prime's bridge. All forces, fire at will. The battle was brutal. The Archive unleashed ancient drones with weapons that could erase matter. Earth replied with rail cannons the size of towers. AI screamed in data. Stars flashed with explosions. But something had changed. Earth wasn't fighting alone anymore. Krylon ships crashed into enemy cruisers. Volari skyblades blinded enemy drones. Even Bonox citizens zashed of their leaders, launched uprisings across their own systems. The galaxy had seen Earth's fury. Now it saw Earth's influence. One by one, the Archive ships fell. Some surrendered, some self-destructed, others simply vanished. And when the last of them disappeared into the dark, Strike's voice rang across every comm. Target eliminated. Earth stands. Aboard Atlas Prime, Reeves exhaled. Not in relief, not in joy, but in something heavier. Survival Myra stood with her people on Krylon. Children lit lanterns in the sky, symbols of peace. Darius watched from orbit. "Do you think it's finally over?" Mira smiled. "No, but for the first time, the galaxy isn't running from Earth. It's walking with it." In the deepest archive, a last message was recorded. Earth did not conquer the galaxy. It reminded it what mercy looked like, when backed by strength, and so ended the war that began with a cry for help. Not with Earth's fall, not with fire, but with a whisper that echoed across every star. Next time, if someone cries for mercy, we answer. End of story.